Die Hard 2, Die Harder came out in 1990, the year that I was born. And it's one of the most special films in my life. It holds a very special place, not because it affected me so deeply or anything like that. I wouldn't dare claim that about Die Hard 2. But maybe for an even more important or significant reason, it really does claim this special place in my heart. This was the first hard R-rated film I was ever allowed to watch. And I use that distinction of hard R because I'm sure that I saw like Terminator 2 or something before Die Hard 2. But Terminator 2 is a kid's film. That's one of the brilliance. That's some of the brilliance of James Cameron making a kids film that that is adult in a way, because that's what little boys want. That's Terminator 2. But Die Hard 2, I mean, you have William Sadler practicing his jujitsu naked. You have icicles through eyeballs. You have a lot of hard R going on in that film. And I remember being 5 years old is when I was allowed to watch it. I think I found the VHS tape somewhere and was just in love with that image. And obviously, since it's my first hard R-rated action film, I had never seen Die Hard 1, and With a Vengeance probably hadn't come out yet. It probably was coming out that summer. Maybe that's why I was on this like Die Hard kick, because Bruce Willis was absolutely my hero when I was 5 years old. It might have been a bad idea to show me that film, because I was like, there's this really funny part, you guys. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Like, I was the poster child of why you shouldn't watch R-rated films as a 5-year-old. But Die Hard 2, I know that film beat by beat. So, a review of it, if I'm going to have any sort of honesty, is going to be straight up tell you, this isn't going to be very objective. This isn't going to be very fair. I have to view this film through rose-tinted glasses. I have to view this through the lens of nostalgia. Or else I'm actually lying to myself. Because the most beautiful part about action movies is they don't care about being critical successes. They care about being commercial ones. They care about audiences, regular people who watch it and grow with it and transform with it, that kind of thing, who find certain values to learn from and learn from the film. And actually Die Hard 2, if we're talking about morality-wise, I'm very happy that John McClane was my hero, was my action guy when I was 5 years old. I might be too young, that's up for debate, whatever. John McClane, nothing comes very easy for him. He ends all of his films like battered, like almost like Spider-Man, with half of his outfit completely ripped off and like it looks like he's been through hell. That's John McClane at the end of every proper Die Hard film. And Die Hard 2, I can speak objectively. I love Die Hard 1, 2, and With a Vengeance, and 2 is easily the weakest out of all three. That is very easy to decide. A lot of it comes down to directed by Rennie Harlin, who is no John McTiernan. Where John McTiernan has Predator and Die Hard 1 in his wheelhouse, Rennie Harlin has Deep Blue Sea and Cutthroat Island. So we're dealing with vastly different kinds of quality filmmakers here. Though this might be Rennie Harlin's best directed film. It's not saying a whole lot. There are other problems with it as well, but there's a give and a take, right? So whereas Rennie Harlin's direction may have been lacking in certain places, in most places if I'm being perfectly honest, Bruce Willis's performance was outrageously good. He is the human hero. He is the hero who bleeds. He is the hero who barely gets out of every shootout and spectacle alive. He's a difficult person to kill, but goddamn do these people come close. And Bruce Willis emitting wonderful pathos and a wonderful, truly everyman ability. Everyone who watches it is like, yeah, I've been down, no one believes in me. And in Die Hard 2 fashion, at least half of the people are not worth saving. And yet Bruce Willis, or John McClane, does, because John McClane, when it comes down to it, he thinks everyone's an asshole, but certain people are his types of assholes. And he's just a good person. It's just taken as a given, as it should be, that human beings are worth saving, especially at this airport, even if you're Dennis Franz. But it's a give and a take, right? So in Die Hard 1 and With a Vengeance, you had incredible villains. You had the Gruber brothers. You had Hans and Simon Gruber, played remarkably, quintessentially well by Alan Rickman and Jeremy Irons, respectively. In Die Hard 2, it's weak. It's not Timothy Olyphant in Live Free or Die Hard weak, but it's fucking weak. William Sadler is a very, very weak villain. He does have moments that I like. It's just moments that could have been so much better. And just doesn't match it. Just doesn't match up, and you really don't get any of that kind of nemesis chemistry when McClane and Colonel Stewart, which is the villain who Sadler plays, when they meet or bump into each other or talk. You don't get that amazing chemistry that existed between Rickman and Willis and Irons and Willis. Once again, better chemistry than Olyphant and Willis, but that's not saying too much. And then, to solidify this kind of give and take that I'm talking about, whereas Sadler may be, sadly, an uninteresting villain, his henchmen are stacked. Okay, you have Don Harvey, John Leguizamo, and Robert Patrick, just to name a few. Robert Patrick, standout. This was breakout for me. He had one line that was awesome. He sees these guys coming down the moving floor, right? And he stops it because he's about to, kill all these people. And the guy's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Turn it back on. What do you think we are here? Who do you think we are?" "A sitting duck." And with that, Robert Patrick stole the hearts of all action junkies everywhere. And his blood, too. It was globulous, it was gross. When Bruce Willis does shoot him through the stomach like that, I remember that from a child, like a really visceral memory of Robert Patrick just, globby blood, just like, it looked like it was coagulated. And there's a fun fact about, Robert Patrick was doing an interview where he was remembering his death scene or his fight scene, truly his only scene in Die Hard 2, and he had to lie there for a long time, and Bruce Willis came over eventually and was like, "Guys, we gotta hurry up, this person's getting rigor mortis for real." I don't know if Bruce Willis actually talks like that, but he did in my interpretation of that anecdote. But yeah, the henchmen are stacked. Even if John Leguizamo had one line that was overdubbed, Don Harvey is wonderful from Casualties of War, things like that. He's awesome. The henchmen were stacked, so they're still great villains, even if they only last for like 2 seconds. And I actually thought I keep going back to Robert Patrick's henchmen because I really love that scene, and I thought there was good chemistry between he and Willis. Who doesn't love Patrick's gaze? I mean, that's how he got his job in T2 anyway. That stare, that hard look, that fucking crazy look. And I like that slight drawl to his voice, even in just one line. It did so much. Another fantastic scene. I grew up in Vermont. I live in Florida now, but I grew up in Vermont. And my life was snowmobiles, and icicles. And this film it's catapulted all of those things into the ether of awesome action movie imagination for me, because you have a cool snowmobile race, an inexplicable snowmobile race, but that's fine, I'm cool with that. And that lovely scene where Bruce Willis is like, once again, I want to reiterate, John McClane barely gets out of every fight that he's in, just barely. I mean, by the end of it, he is worn and torn and looks like he has been through a war, because he has been through a war. But when he's battling with the henchmen outside of the church that they've used up as headquarters, that the villains have used as headquarters, the knife's coming for him, and he reaches for an icicle and jabs it into the dude's eyeball. 5-year-old me thought that was grody, thought it was awesome, and 29-year-old me feels the exact same way. That was awesome. That was so cool. I also think, when it comes down to it, the way that Bruce Willis says "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker" before blowing up the airplane, great delivery. Great payoff, too. It didn't even feel like a catchphrase at that point. And it was just so elating, so fucking phenomenal. And obviously this is a script that cannibalized itself. Steven D'Souza, who wrote things like Commando, he's a great action writer, actually. He adapted this script from something called 58 Minutes, and D'Souza was low-key providing commentary on the Contra situation, the South American governments, that kind of thing. Though the war on drugs, there are low key critiques of the U.S. government involvement with that. But that doesn't really take the forefront. But the important part is it was a book called 58 Minutes, and once again, John McClane is just inserted into a different story. Just how With a Vengeance was originally Simon Says, became Lethal Weapon 3 probably, or 4, and then eventually became a Die Hard movie. That's how you get the best Die Hard sequels, awkwardly. That's pretty interesting. I love Die Hard 2. A lot of people like to rag on it. And, I mean, the truth is, nothing's going to be as good as Die Hard 1, but Die Hard 2, once again, holds a really special place in my heart, and maybe if I didn't watch it religiously as a kid, I wouldn't feel this way, but I do. And I can't shake that. I can't objectively tell you, yeah, it's just not a good movie, because I can't watch these scenes and not be reminded of exactly how amazing those scenes were when I was a kid. And so I think they still hold weight. When McClane uses the emergency chair to get out of that airplane, just whoa! It's fucking awesome, dude. It's just fucking awesome. John McClane is the human hero. So if I was allowed to watch an R-rated movie, I think that John McClane was probably the best action star to vicariously live through for me as a kid. I mean, because he was the human character. Because he was just trying to get his wife. He was just trying to make means, just trying to make a go of it, just trying to make people believe him. And by the end of it, he's torn and he's cut to shreds because I see him barely escaping all of these things. He's not invincible. He's incredibly touchable. He's just a little difficult to kill. Cigarettes out. And that means I have to stop talking. But I want you to leave your comments. What did you think of Die Hard 2? What's your nostalgia bomb movie? What movie what is a movie you can't look at objectively? What movie is just brilliant because that your inner child tells you that it is? Die Hard 2, I think, is that for me. I love Die Hard 2. Die Hard 3 and Die Hard 1, remember, are the best Die Hard movies. But Die Hard 2 is it's nothing to laugh at. I love it to death. My name's Zachary Conan. Thank you for watching this video. It means a lot to me that you do. And please like the video. I like that kind of feedback as well.